Welcome back to Badger Outdoors. It's the first autumnal woodland camp tonight. Testing out my winter gear. Every winter I take certainly my hammocking gear out and the bivy gear out and just give it a test, make sure I'm happy with it, everything's working. I've done a lot of nights now, probably about 9-10 nights with the superior gear hammock with a built-in underquilt. I just want to, now I've done that, go for the Wookey and just compare the two. Temperature weight rating wise, Wookey should go lower, and they're very similar in that the Wookey does hug the hammock and it's perfect fit for it. There's no fiddling or should be no gaps or anything like that, so I'm interested to see what that's like. And plus I want to see what the shoulder space etc is like between the two as well, because I do, not an issue with the superior gear, but it's definitely narrower. I just want to in my head compare it and just see what the two are like. Right, sweating a little bit now. I would call that heavyweight. I mean, for me in my head I think of ultra light for me with a lightweight bivy bag and hardly anything, and boiling a bag and my little lightweight stove and etc. That's, you know, I could do that in a weight of under 5 kilograms just, but it's tight, and I can do that with my 33 litre bag. But and I don't really use base weight. Base weights use, you know, for me, for wild camping, I don't care about base weight. I care about what I'm carrying on my back, because, you know, I'm not replenishing that stuff. I'm carrying it in. It's just for a night. So for me, it's just about the actual weight. So yeah, so 5 kilograms is ultra light for me, and I think I've only ever done that once, really, gone ultra light. And then lightweight 5 to 10 kilograms, and then roughly 10 to 15 I think for medium weight, and then anything 15 to 20 is heavyweight, and then over 20 is very heavy, and I don't walk very far with that. So I sort of keep a rough, weigh my bag etc and get a rough idea. So I'm about 16 kilograms at the moment, so it's definitely in the heavyweight category for me. So this is where I was going to come, and I've been here probably 2 years ago and it was nothing like this. There are trees down all over the place, pine, so clearly something's gone on with the ground. It's been dry and then it's had a load of water. I don't know what's done it, but there's a lot of trees come down here. This one here, I was thinking, because I've got this thing here which is fallen, but that I'll be protected by these two trees, so I'm not too worried about that. And I was going to go to this one, but it's got quite a lean on it. It's leaning that way. It's going to go between those trees over there, so I'm not going to risk that. And in fact, I'm not going to risk it. I mean, it's not really windy tonight, but I don't need this. It's noticeably worse than when I came here last. I think there was maybe a tree down further up there. Now there are loads of them have come down. Loads of pine as well. There's been a lot of rain, so the pine might be a good idea just to get the fire going. It burns really quick and really hot, but always a good idea if you can get some pine to get that going early to get the heat up. Because over there is a lot of beech tree, and they burn. They're hard to get going, so it's good if you've got a pine. The trouble with pine is it spits all over the place, and so you don't want your brand new hammock right next to it. So I don't ever put pine out unless I can keep it, you know, a good, I don't know, 6-8 feet away from the hammock at least. Yeah, and it will shoot over 6 foot quite comfortably actually. So yeah, you're risking your gear with a pine fire. For the beech, it takes bloody ages. There is some chestnut down there. I'm not sure how good chestnut is. I think it's a little bit better than beech. I don't know. There is a great online. There's a great poem. It's all about trees. It's an old wives sort of poem, and it's all about different trees and which ones burn well, and ash. It's say how good ash is, and ash and then oak, and you know, it goes through them all. It's quite good. I'll maybe try and hunt that down if I can, but not here. Go further down there. I think there is a spot which may be suitable. This here, no one comes here. The track I came in was definitely a deer trail of some sort. Loads of deer droppings on the fallen trees as I was climbing over. Just deer droppings, really obvious. So I think they come through here, and there's really no people come in here. So there is a lot of deer. You can see they've been nibbling the bark off some of the hardwood back over there. So head down there. We'll see what we get. I do have a couple of really nice books on mushrooms. But I think even with a good book on mushrooms, you're still taking a bit of a gamble. How well was that book written, by who? I read a story of a guy who was a bit of a mushroom eating guru and just knew them all, but he ended up dying because he ate a mushroom, more a little deer poop. He ate a mushroom that he thought was absolutely fine, and it was. The snag is that a mushroom had grown inside it, which was poisonous, really poisonous, and he died. Oh, got a bit of a battle to get through this lot. That's where I need to get. Great thing about beech trees is they have sort of an acidy stuff in their leaves, and it prevents growth on the ground, which is great. However, the wood is crap to burn, or like I say, hard to get started, and also beech sheds limbs real easy, so it always makes me nervous, and I always have a good look up to see what's healthy and what isn't, but I don't think they follow the usual rules. Pretty much where I am now is all, as you can see on the ground, I think this is sweet chestnut. Ow, spiky as hell. Yeah, there you go. I think I'm pretty sure that's sweet chestnut there. And you can see also the husks from the beech. It's always a bit of a gamble. There's one that looks nasty if that came down, but the rest are kind of on the sides. I think they go down to the side. I'll try and pull myself a bit more towards this this chestnut, which looks healthy as hell. Yeah, he's looking good. So I think we'll go here. Always want to finish cutting wood before it gets dark, and I want to get my hammock up before it gets dark. Fire, don't really care. Food, don't really care. I'll do that in the dark, no problem. But it's nice to get everything up, just so you're not having to rely on a head torch too much. Like I say, got the XLC with the Wookey and the Superfly, just because that's my winter setup. I don't necessarily know if I'll need the Superfly, but I think we might be getting some rain in. Temperature's going to go down to about plus 13 degrees centigrade, so it's that's nothing, no biggie. But I just want to make sure the setup, everything's as I want it. Really got a pillow now, proper, instead of a blow-up pillow. I forget what it is. I'll maybe show you in a second. It's one of the compressed down pillows, but I just want something a little bit more comfortable. And it is bulky, I'll be honest, compared to, if I was going lightweight, I wouldn't be taking that, but heavyweight or my very heavyweight setup with cast iron, then I'll happily take that with me instead. So that'll be nice. I don't have my thermal camera, which is a bit of a shame, because this is a really good spot because you can scan a lot of area to see if you can see anything walking through. But that's on my rifle at the moment, and it's all zeroed perfectly, so I'm leaving that as it is. Right, let's go down and have a quick look down here. I just love this. I'm really always looking for a nice winter spot, and this for me is becoming a good winter spot. I just like to find an easier way in and out of it, where it's not as obvious with I'm carrying all that gear through an area that people do walk. So there is a track up there, and horses, as I saw earlier, running up and down. People, not as many, a lot of downhill bikers. Tomorrow morning there's a running event which is going down that track, but they can't, it's really difficult to get into here. And on the other side of private fields there's a stream, so there's a water source here. It's a good little spot that I really would never expect, because I know I've tried walking up through that way to exit this area before, and it's just hard work. So you're really just not going to see people in here. Lots of squirrels. I do remember last time being woken up by squirrels going nuts. And there are lots of nuts around at the moment, but I think we're going to stay here. So that's the super fly out, and then what I've got is a bit of cordage. Onto here I've also got the elastic. I forget the knot that I use to put the elastic on. It's very simple, but it gives it some flex, particularly on this tarp, because this tarp is my winter tarp and it's going to take a lot more wind, etc. This is a pole nylon version. You can get a sil poly, or is it nylon poly? I don't bloody know. This is the nylon version. You can get a poly version, which I have for my lightweight mini fly, because generally that's used in the summer when I don't have too much wind. But windy conditions, I'd rather have the nylon one. Apparently it's stronger. And then I've just got a little mini carabiner on, and then an alien on the other end to connect it all up. Okay, light is really fading. I think I'll show you the setup tomorrow. It's all right, but I've had a bit of a shocker. The tree there, that beech tree, is a monster wide, and well, I've had to, thank God I brought my spares, so I've got spare straps and all the other, you know, extra stuff to get me out of problems. Light has gone down, so it's been in not in great light. I've lost one peg. This is the snag with coming out and doing this in the autumn, is it's very difficult to, it's very easy to lose stuff on the ground. So I've lost a peg. I do have my tarp up though. It's okay. It's raised up, so it's a bit of a porch mode. The straps I've had to put, I'll talk about straps later on, but I've got one strap there, then I've got onto a cinch buckle, and then down and under with my Wookey under. I'm gonna have to show you in the morning. Right, got it going in the end, but God, did I have to bring out the big guns. It did not want to get going. So all the cotton wool came out. The idea is to relax, isn't it? I have not been relaxing. But anyway, we're up and running. I haven't got much wood, and I've got a bit of cooking to do, so it'll be hot coals, get it all burnt down, and then I'll show you what I got later. There you go, first beer of the night, Brewdog Silk Road. Never had this. Mango hazy IPA. I got a complete, oh there we go, fruity. Got 4 different beers. I don't think I'll get through all of them, but I haven't got any time now. Behind the curve. Right, I don't know if you can see me or not. Just being smoked out here. Beech has got this distinct smell, and it's really hard to get this thing going. It's got moisture in it, it's wet. It's just, I've never ever done it well. So if anyone's got any good ideas about how to burn beech, or just don't burn beech, then yeah. The pine, I should have got some pine on the way. All the pine is all the way over there, and it's quite a treacherous little trip, quite boggy as well, and I just don't fancy it.
The lack of interest in this in mainstream media, and by the academic and scientific and government community, just astounds me. Yet the data is here. We're talking about life and death of many people here. These excess deaths are a real phenomenon.
Now, we see those of you in the chat saying, well, were these people vaccinated? That's a good question. That is maybe the question.
Are you crazy? Well, I didn't plan to bring a knife in my hand luggage, but I did check the website to the airline company.
Morning. Well, that was a hell of a windy, wet night. I didn't sleep very well, probably because of the wind, not because of comfort in here. This thing was toasty. Yeah, so I'll give a quick overview of what I think now, because I've slept in the Superior Gear hammock for probably about 9 nights, 8 or 9 nights I think, since I bought the thing. And
and I've obviously slept in the others quite a lot, and this thing I'm probably reckoning about 10-15 nights over the probably 3 years I've had it, so I can have a quite a good comparison, I think. Comfort wise, this has 100% has more space. I can get a much, compared to the Superior Gear, I can get a much more asymmetrical lay, so I can comfortably, because it's got a foot box down by my feet, which does allow me to get far more asymmetrical. You notice up here as well, the material isn't up here, so if I'm sleeping in fact any of my other hammocks really, I seem to have too much material up around here. Certainly on the Superior Gear, the material is up here, and if you want to look out through the netting, you need to lean up like that, or you need to pull yourself back up the hammock so you're higher up. But it's got material up quite high. Same with the Hennessy hammock. But what I really like about this is because I've got a great view of the destroyed forest out there, and very wet forest. I can lie here, and my shoulder is protected behind here, but you know, I can easily look out and enjoy the outdoors. I can easily deal with things down here. If I had my little table, I can do things. Whereas with the others, the material is up really high. Width-wise as well, this is not much wider, but it's better than the Hennessy hammock. I think it feels better than the Hennessy hammock in terms of space width-wise, but certainly better than the Superior Gear. And don't get me wrong, I sleep very nicely in the Superior Gear one. So overall, this really is my most comfortable hammock. The one I should get the best night's sleep in, but not tonight. The Superior Gear hammock's selling point is clearly its inbuilt underquilt, and I get that. And whenever I've taken any of my hammocks and then added my Cumulus Silver 250 or 450 that I've got, there's always a little bit of fiddling, and quite often I make a little mistake, and I've got to get out in the middle of the night and fiddle with something because I don't put the attention I should do into it. And the selling point of Superior Gear is clearly that it's all built in. But with the Wookey, it's built to fit, so there are no gaps, and so the down, etc., is built asymmetrically. So it's directly under me here, and it goes directly under my feet when I'm sleeping asymmetrically. And then, other than that, it's material, just comes up, and that helps stop the wind get in there. It's not a perfect fit, like I can get my hand in there, but it's a pretty good fit, and when my hand goes in, it's tight under there. But that doesn't mean it's pulling the down, it's just tight in that the material of this is tight up against the material of the hammock. The down hangs under that material, so the down is never compressed, but the material is pulled up against the hammock. So you don't get any big air gaps like I've certainly had recently with one of my Cumulus underquilts, which are just generic underquilts. So this is very close to the Superior Gear in many ways, and it is a separate system, but all it takes is two connections, one at the top and then one down the bottom, and so there's no other clipping on or anything like that, no adjusting. You literally just clip it one end, clip it the other end, and you've got an underquilt that's designed for you for the hammock. And last night was toasty warm, gorgeous. I mean, it wasn't cold last night at all, so we're going to try it out all again in the winter, but this works really well. It is a very, very good system. So overall, comparing the two, I think this system here is heavier than the Superior Gear. I think it's probably a bit more bulky, not a hell of a lot more, but I think it is more bulky, but it is more comfortable. All it takes is a couple of connections to get the underquilt on, and once the underquilt's on, it's very similar to the Superior Gear in that you don't have to fiddle around. Where this one does have material, the Superior Gear does have padding, so I think Superior Gear gives you more reliable all-round warmth. So if I did shuffle and decide to sleep in the other direction asymmetrically, then it would have the padding there, the down there in the right place to protect me. Whereas this one, very much, I've got my shoulders got to be here and my legs got to be in the foot box down there. In this one, I can get a better asymmetric lie. I can get onto my side and a bit of side sleeping. There's a slight curve, but it's very slight, so I can sleep on my side with this. Whereas superior gear, I can't really. And there's clearly the width thing as well. So, and I do really like this. The wind was howling in here. I got this the tarpon porch mode. Wind was hammering in. I probably should have dropped that. I really should have. But it was hammering in. It was hitting here. And yeah, I wasn't getting the wind inside. But where I've got this air vent here, I could feel the wind coming in there. So I just had to pull my sleeping bag up over my shoulder, and that was no problem. But yeah, I think you get 1 or 2 degrees centigrade better improvement with this, which is, I do really like this winter cover.
Right, I'll give you a quick rundown of the rig that I've got. You can see the wind has just been coming in here. It's been doing that all night. It's not gone. Wasn't smart. I should have dropped that down. What I ended up having to do was to go onto a stick, loop around that, and then it comes down and onto this log, which keeps pulling this way. So things like this are great, but you need to, I should have wedged something in. If I had some stones, I would have put some stones there, but no real stones around here. But even a some twigs jammed in there would have helped it and stopped that pulling in. But there we go, that on both sides. Being a bit lazy here, just fitted the doors onto these pull-outs. Not quite what I did on the back. On the back doors, I just tied those together, which works much better. And I do have some bits of paracord in the bag, which I found, which works really nicely for that. Yeah, on here, as you can see, I've got a bit of shock cord. As you can see, as the wind is pulling, it just helps take some pressure off. Works really nicely, particularly for my winter hammock. Yeah, particularly for my winter hammock, that's what I wanted. And like I say, this tarp is the sil nylon rather than sil poly, just because I believe that gives it a little bit more strength. So that's what I went for. Hopefully this is is not damp. No, that's lovely and dry. That's good news. I was worried about the water running down. So these straps that I've got, these are the daisy chain straps. I gotta say, I would avoid them now, since I've been using cinch buckles on other hammocks. This, it's in here. It's simple. Let's be honest. It's simple. You do need to have a carabiner with a cinch buckle. You probably save on weight in terms of hardware. And they do take a lot of work, and they are simple, but they're not particularly adjustable. However, they don't slip, and that is one important point for me, is that they don't slip in the night. Because last night I did find myself further down than I wanted, so I was sinking down, and I'll show you. I don't know what was going on, but I'll show you what I had to do on the other end of the hammock. So you can see the distance here. This tree that I had to go around is absolutely massive, and you can see that's taken up the entire strap just to go around here. And then I've had to connect it onto a bit of Dutch hardware there, I carry a spare straps and things like that, and the only one I can get was this is a great strap, and it comes down, and is this a Dutch, bit of Dutch hardware on here, and there we go, and that then goes on to my continuous loop, and this is my sort of drip, and that helped with the drip as well. So really didn't get any water down through this, but so that's what I had to do. However, this was slipping a little bit, and I found twice when I went to the toilet that I was a little bit low, so I had to come here and just tighten that up again. I'm not sure what I've done wrong there. Is that supposed to be flipped over? The top bit is supposed to be flipped over? I don't know. Is that supposed to be over that way? I don't think it is. Yeah, so that was a bit of a bit of a pain. But yeah, if you get big trees, then you really do need, and the distance here was pushing it a little bit, so you really do need some extra gear. And I've always found that taking that extra gear has helped me many times. Right, the other thing I wanted to show you was the underquilt itself, just so you can see what the Wookey is like. So the Wookey itself up this end connects on there, so this is the Wookey material. It comes up, goes onto this piece of rubber. The rubber goes up. There's a carabiner here, which is my weak point, because once before I have sat on the underquilt and not on the hammock, and luckily the carabiner that I had before snapped and not at the other end. But there you go. So that's one connection there, and then the other connection is up here. This is the underquilt here, and there's a thin bit of cord, but it's very strong, and that just goes around the what's it called? Gathered end. This goes around the gathered end, and so that holds it. And so that they are just the two connections. And as you can see, so if I line up perfectly, there you go. So this is the material, and there's the padding, and you can see it's asymmetrical, so it's running out that way and then back up this way. So up here is where the footbox of the hammock is, and that's where my feet push in. And then this material here, you might think, well, what's all the point in all that extra material? Well, number one, it holds this in the right place, but number two, it stops the wind getting in and whooping it, you know, and getting in there. And you can see there, it just fits. It covers in quite nicely, and when you're in there as well, it fits really nicely and just stops the wind getting in. So it's a very nice system. But the trouble is, if you sleep with your feet this end and your head over that end on the right shoulder in, then you got a bit of a problem. You can get these the other way, but you are limited in some respects with a Wookey. But I love it. I love that thing. It was seriously warm last night. The other little addition to this here, which is the pillow. Wow, what a difference that made. Now I get the blow up pillows, nice and small. I get the point of them, and I will still use them, but this has been phenomenal. And I can't remember if it's what it is. I think it might be a Thermarest, but it's a compression one. You basically, you can wrap it all up into half the size that it is. It's still quite bulky, but wow, it's perfect to go. We've got a little bit of rain coming. It's perfect just to go under your neck, and it's so comfortable. I can't believe I haven't done it before. And then you see there, I've got a piece of cordage which is tied up into the gathered end. That comes down. Then a little bit of shock cord, but that just means that, as always happens, they always drop out. If you've got a blow up one, you'll know it. They drop out, or they end up stuck to your butt, which has happened to me before in one of my videos. Yeah, so I just looped it on there, just a figure of 8, and then there's a little toggle that's built in on the back of it, and then that, I can't lose it. And that actually, it fell out last night. No worries, I just reached around, grabbed it, pulled it up. No bugs on it, but wow, what an addition. I'm so chuffed. Easy recommendation for anyone that's doing hammocking. If you don't mind taking that extra little bulky bit of bulk, then it's worth it. It goes down to about half the size, I would say. Okay, this is the pillow squashed down. Like I say, I think it's Thermarest. Thermarest. I'll put the details up. That's how much that's when it's folded up. So you can see it is still quite bulky, but this is the medium version. There is a small version and a large version, but this, I think, for hammocks, medium worked really nicely in there. I think I could have quite happily got away with the small one as well. I wouldn't. The large is far too large. So yeah, medium or small, well worth. If you're going to invest something in some comfort in your hammock, then I strongly recommend one of these things. Right, there we go. I'm done, all tidied up. Yeah, the tarp, because that's my winter tarp, I put it in a dry bag, so it's in mesh snake skins, so that if I did want to just let it dry on the back of my pack, then it would. Still got my cover on. Yeah. Then it would. But if I just need to pack it in and not get anything else wet, I've got a dry bag ready to go. So it's all just gone into there. I should have brought my raincoat because there's no rain in the forecast. And even if I look now, it's pouring down with rain here. It's been pouring down all night. There's nothing in the forecast about this. So God knows where it came from. But now I've got my puffy jacket. It's going to get soaked, but it's synthetic, so I'm hoping it will survive. I've got to work out a way. I do not want to walk all the way up through that again. It's tick heaven. That was painful. Oh, I think we're home, but not dry. I'm soaked. Right, that is me done. Soaking wet. Lots of wet gear to sort out when I get back, but I actually quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed lying there last night. I do love that hammock. Can't wait to get some really cold days in. I'm going to switch back to the superior gear for the autumn, I think, but then when those temperatures start to drop, I'll be straight into that Warbonnet, no problem. An ending on a rainbow, although this GoPro won't see it probably. So take care and see you next time.